Abilities are a staple of many card games, and getting your ability system right can be the difference between a good game or a trash game. It's a tricky thing to do as well. You want to be original, but at the same time there's only so far you can go with an ability system. Our original idea was one of those ideas that sound awesome in your head, but is awful in practice. We decided to add abilities and pets to the game, and pets were basically just passive abilities. You got up to 4 abilities and 4 pets. However, as you can see from the clips, this meant that a lot of slots being empty almost all the time, and a few times you had a lot of abilities and pets, it was just so confusing to keep track of them all. Eventually we decided to drop most of the slots, and we dropped it down to 2 ability slots. This felt a bit better, but still had the problem that a lot of the time you just had an empty ability slot on your screen, as not all characters had 2 abilities. We also had a consumable item that lets you discover an extra ability for the fight, so you could get an extra ability slot, but very rarely. While we were mulling over this problem, we noticed another problem with our Fate resource system. At this point in time we had a Fate resource system where you would gain Fate by playing cards or through passive effects, then you could spend that Fate on cards to unleash powerful effects. I won't go into detail on the system in this video, however this system also had a problem where you often ended up with Fate spender cards in your hand but no cards to gain Fate. So it felt like you were just stuck with dead weight cards in your hand. After some thinking, we decided to repurpose our second ability slot into what we call a Benediction slot. Benediction in our game is a passive ability that triggers at some point, such as start of turn or when a card is played. If you got Fate, then the Benediction will trigger repeatedly until it spent all your Fate. This solution solved 2 problems for us. It allowed us to cut all the spender cards and only have Fate gain cards, and it gave us a unique ability system that we have never seen in any other game. This system is also integrated into our editor, and just like adding cards is easy, adding abilities or benedictions is just as easy. In fact, you could copy code from a card and put it straight into an ability and it will just work. In this example, I'm copying code from a card that adds a random faction card to your hand, then I modified it to add a random card and created the trigger for the benediction so it activates at the end of the turn. Running it, we see that it just works without problems. With a few tweaks, we could make this into an active ability instead of a benediction if we wanted to. If you find our game interesting, please check the link in the description and wishlist our game on Steam. And if you wish to participate in playtests, we will be starting playtests soon, so join our Discord and we'll notify you when we are ready to playtest.